Magic Masses. I am longtime independent wrestling fan Robert. Step Brothers, the 2025 mid-season finale of Pro Wrestling Magic, was a great way for me to return after not being there since Superbad in April. And this was the all steel cage event, which obviously is now going to be a tradition every June. The show gets underway with a four-way match for the Junior Heavyweight Championship as Eden versus V Daniel versus the Plexuses Troy Locke versus Mateo Marcellus of El Pacto Diabolico, accompanied in the ring by Tony Ice, and I think Trixie was out there ringside as well. Four-way was pretty good to open up the show, and I didn't know they would have the escape the cage rule throughout some of these matches. Mateo Marcellus defeated Troy Locke, V Daniel, and Eden to retain the Junior Heavyweight Championship at 8 minutes 2 seconds. Next match, we see the good guy Azrael face the Brooklyn Outlaw Donovan. Throughout this match, I don't know if they were like hitting the ropes and their backs were hitting the steel cage. At one point, that happened to Azrael, and Azrael turned around and gave the bird to that side. I don't know if it was to the fan sitting on that side of the room or to the part of the cage his back hit. Donovan tried to escape the cage on 2 occasions, but Azrael kept calling him a bitch. Azrael tried to go out the door, and Donovan called him a pussy, and eventually the Brooklyn Outlaw Donovan defeats the good guy Azrael at 14 minutes 34 seconds, and this, I understand, was the qualifying match for the best of the junior heavyweights and also a fast pass to the Dark Arts Championship. Up next, we had a women's tag team match where the escaping the steel cage rule was not going to be was not a way to win the matchup, as we saw. It was scheduled to be Journey Burke Esquire to team up with Tiffany Grady, but it wound up being Jordan Grace, I guess. Not Jordan Grace, sorry, Journey Burke. Yeah, that was a big botchamania on my part. Journey Burke apparently didn't make the show, and replacing her was Killa J, unless I'm mistaken, her Pro Wrestling Magic debut. She teamed up with Grady to face the Cotton Candy Princess, Tiffany Avatar, and Cameron Brené. And this was for Avatar's the Pro Wrestling Magic Women's Championship and the Kaiju Pro Wrestling Phoenix Division title, both championships held by Avatar going into this match. The ladies did good in this one. Avatar and Grady have been butting heads in Pro Wrestling Magic since April, I believe. Tiffany Avatar and Cameron Brené defeat Tiffany Grady and Killa J at 11 minutes 40 seconds, and by virtue of the victory, Avatar retained both the Pro Wrestling Magic Women's Championship and the Kaiju Pro Wrestling Phoenix Division Championship. Next up was another Best of the Junior Heavyweights qualifier and also a Dark Arts Fast Pass, as we saw the Star Killer, Steve Off, accompanied to the ring by heel son Luke and the Off Army, as Steve did battle with the Don't Count Him Out, the Power Punch, Vinny Pacifico. During the matchup, we saw eventually from El Pacto Diabolico, Mateo Marcellus, Tony Ice, and Trixie. They're like, they didn't come like down the ramp, but they were like standing on not on the sideline, so to speak, but they're watching the match. And eventually Off bled in this matchup, and damn, yeah, Off was gonna put brass knuckles on his hand. He was gonna use them, but he took them off, and then he dared Pacifico to use them, and I forgot what he said to him, but Pacifico put on the knucks, hit Off with him. Vinny Pacifico defeated Steve Off at 8 minutes 18 seconds to to qualify for the best of the junior heavyweights later in the year, and also earn a Dark Arts Fast Pass. I forgot to mention about the women's tag team match. It was the first match, I believe, of a tournament to crown Pro Wrestling Magic's first ever women's tag team champions. Well, after the match, Mateo Marcelos, Tony Ice, and Trixie all entered the cage, and they had like some kind of a book in their hand for Steve Off, and it was like something for him to sign. But out comes Dan Murdoch, and I forgot who that was with him. Didn't recognize him or get his name. And Murdoch was telling Steve, what are you doing and stuff. And Steve, he's telling Mateo, that Murdoch, he's with the program, so to speak. And Mateo says, yeah, but he seems to be complaining. And Steve, I forgot, something happened where he says, let Steve prove it, or let Murdoch prove it. Steve had this pipe in his hand, and Steve hits Mateo with it. And I think that pipe broke. It was like a metal pipe. I don't know what kind of pipe that was. And then at that point, eventually, Bruno El Oso Blanco, he comes out. He had come out, and was it Mateo or Trixie spit mist into the eyes of Dan Murdoch. The one man who came to the ring with Murdoch was being held back by two unknown individuals being held at ringside. And Steve was put in a corner helplessly to watch Bruno power slam Murdoch and do a number on him. And I think Off said about that, what he signed. He said, that he didn't sign his action. He didn't sign it. He said the name Mike Hunt or Hunt on it. So apparently Steve Off has left El Pacto Diabolico, and I don't know if this is going to lead up to Steve maybe facing Bruno also Blanco later in the year, or something, or maybe Steve will explain that he joined the group just to try to take them down from within. Might have been like a plan of Steve's all along, or I'm not sure, or that Off and Murdoch are so tight, they couldn't get between them. In any event, time will tell. Okay, back to the action. This next match, I'm surprised, went on next, as this was pretty much going to be the main event, seemingly, as Crowbar was challenging Bruno El Oso Blanco for the heavyweight championship with it was in a weapons-filled cage match. Crowbar, he attacked Bruno before he even got in the cage, and as I said to the Cuban hype men, Fernando and Bruno sitting right behind me, I said, just when I thought we were safe, we got a crowd brawl. And they went over to the wrestling recovery merch table, and some stuff got knocked over there. Then they finally are both in the cage together. The match officially starts. Bruno El Oso Blanco defeats Crowbar to retain the heavyweight championship at 13 minutes 9 seconds. And I believe Bruno was accompanied by Mateo Marcelos and Trixie for this match. And I think Tony Ice as well. And then it was time for the main event, a triple threat match for the Dark Arts Championship, as we saw the All-Father Darius Carter versus Smiley versus Isaiah Wolf, who was accompanied to the ring by Ruthless Lala. Hmm. Good match at three. I mean, the pressure was obviously on all three of them because they were wrapping up the show and did very good. Yeah, Isaiah Wolf defeats Darius Carter and Smiley to retain the Dark Arts Championship at 19 minutes 47 seconds. I know Lala actually went over to the commentation station with Front Row Mikey and Jimmy Riot. That's why she didn't wasn't seen at ringside. Though she came to the ring with Isaiah. Uh, Interesting, not really interesting of note. As the show was winding down, there was this one man with his son, and the son was crying, and I don't know if it was what the trouble was, but he came over to them. But even referee Nick Shin came over, and I couldn't obviously hear what they were saying, but kudos to Isaiah Wolf for having this young child bring him into the ring to help celebrate Isaiah's victory. I mean, I don't know if this kid was like shaken up by something Darius or had said or done. Uh, I don't. I mean, I don't know what the. I don't know what I don't know if anybody knows what happened there. I mean, I think the only ones that would know would be Carter and Nick Shin. But yeah, great night of action came to an end. Even though we got like 6 matches for this show, and obviously, I guess at least since Donovan defeated Azriel, I guess their feud is over. Obviously, probably new things are going to be on the horizon, especially when they return, and I'll get to that shortly. Okay, personal notes. It was good. Welcome back to both Cuban hype men, Fernando and Bruno. It was great seeing Elliot, Michelle, Jason Bob 87. We managed to get a good crowd for this show. So I couldn't believe this one fan in the crowd throughout the show. He was pretty loud, and Bruno from the Cuban hype man, he kept referring to this dude as a Virgin Mark. We didn't. Some people were not there, or we didn't see. Obviously, well, like in the crowd, Pete Ryman, Sherry Ann, her son Mikey were not there. Who else we didn't? That is. Oh, Bill Parham was not there. I know. I can't believe this. Cuban hype man. I'm glad he's came back, but we didn't get to have a Magic Masters family portrait. Hopefully, before the year's out, we get that done. But, ladies and gentlemen, Pro Wrestling Magic, its upcoming schedule. Sunday, June 29th, they will be presenting a show titled The Sandlot. Forgot the exact town that's going to be in. They return to Hinchcliffe Stadium in Paterson, New Jersey on Saturday, July 12th with Major League. And then Saturday afternoon, August 2nd, and Sunday afternoon, August 3rd, they will be returning to the YMCA in Rutherford for 2 afternoon shows that weekend, and they partner up with 3 other promotions as a show is titled Project X. And then they finally come home to the Mecca on Saturday, September 20th, as they present The Hangover. Appropriate name from taking time off, I guess. Unfortunately, not surprisingly, as I told Fernando, that the damn NJ Transit 168 bus wasn't prompt. Showed up 15 minutes late at Port Authority, but it didn't matter because it wasn't. We didn't have like a lot of traffic and a lot of passengers. It was just a nice smooth ride heading down there. And of course, I stopped inside of Dante's on Main Street. I mean, nice, got a nice eggplant parmesan hero. Elliot, say what you will about their pizza, but they do have some great hero sandwiches. The thing is, I walked in, it wasn't ready yet. Because they were obviously busy. Because when the first time I tried calling them while I was on the bus, there was a busy signal, so I had to call back a few minutes later. Oh, man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man. Too bad there's no diners near the building. I mean, there's like two restaurants on Main Street. Because thing is, because the show wrapped up at 8:30, and the bus I was taking wasn't gonna show up till 9:15, but it showed up a few minutes later. Because that's the thing about it. I missed one bus. Who knows how long I would have to wait for another one. Oh boy. I will not be at the Sandlot. I will not be at Major League. Project X is a question mark right now, as is The Hangover. But definitely still hoping to go to Blackbirds after. Well, actually, I tried back in October for Doomsday, but it was so crowded. That's why I walked out of there. I definitely hope to go there and I mean, I don't know. Anybody know how good their food? I'm sure people tell me that they do have some good food there, but definitely go have a beer after a show and such. I'm still hoping for that day to happen. Mm. Oh boy. Well, obviously with this show, we didn't get a. Obviously, the tag team titles were not defended because Isaiah Wolf is one half of the tag champions with Ruthless Lala at this time. We actually see when Pacifico and Donovan exercise their fast passes. Okay, folks, that'll do it. Was a great Step Brothers was a great show, and not sure when I'll be back for Pro Wrestling Magic, but definitely can't wait to come back.